Sleepy Hollow episode 9 titled Sanctuary, which is a fairly ironic title for this episode. But I enjoyed this episode because it actually took a pretty interesting detour from the normal formula of the show with Ichabod and Abbie being, trapped in this haunted house. And, like the camera work was a lot different than normal, at least in, their portions of the episode, because it gave that sense of urgency where, it was kind of shaky cam, and it wasn't insane, so I thought it was actually really well done. But there would be like close-ups and stuff, and it would once again be kind of shaky cam because they're in this situation that's out of the normal for the show, where they're actually trapped in one place, basically being chased down by this demon, or looking for the girl who was kidnapped by the demon. And I thought it was pretty cool that it was such a big change from the episode, or from other episodes that we normally get to see. And they aren't just solving a problem, and we don't really get any of the normal functions we get from the show, where Abbie and Ichabod have their comedic moments. Like there's a little bit in the beginning and in the end, but for the most part, they're trapped in this house, and it's dark in the house. All the windows and shutters are shut, the doors are locked and stuff, and they're trying to figure out, what is this thing, why is it coming after us now, and this and that. And it was a really good episode, and we got to learn, a great amount, a great, bit of detail about Ichabod's life that even he didn't know about, which is, Ichabod has a son, and of course I'm excited to see, where that storyline goes. That's going to be the main focus for next week, but I'm excited to see if what if his son somehow, got transported to our time, or, sort of the same type of spell, or if he just finds out that his son did survive and just kind of lived out a normal life. Even that would be interesting to figure out, because there are so many details that are just mysteries right now when we find out that he has a son. And obviously, sorry, Katerina never mentioned that to him, and he just had no idea. So what happened to his son, what happened to Katerina, because she gave birth and was a witch. So obviously different covens and all that type of stuff, all those different factions and just different roles that people played during those times when there were strong amounts of magical power, where people were actually in different factions. I'm excited to see that for next week. But it was great to get that hint. It was great to see the end of this episode where, Ichabod is different. He learns from Abbie because, she's seeing the ghost of her ancestor, and she sees that Ichabod has a son, and she doesn't know what happened, but she knows that the reason that Katerina had to leave with, their son, was because this demon, came into the house and it killed their friend, and so she had to run off, and excuse me, Abbie's ancestor had to basically help Katerina escape with the baby. And Ichabod at the end of this episode, he went into the house by himself, with an axe, and after they found out that this demon was weak if you attacked its roots, he goes in, and he's yelling at the demon and stuff because he's mad about what may or may not have happened, because of course he doesn't know at this point. And he's just hitting the roots and stuff, and he's being attacked. He gets hit like once or twice really, but it's mostly him being mad and just going far over the top compared to his normal calm demeanor. And it was interesting to see that. And he's hacking away at all the roots and stuff, and then he slams the axe into the demon's head. And I thought it would have been amazing if he actually chopped its head off, because it would kind of tie him into the horsemen and stuff. And I just thought that would be an amazing sort of parallel image, to have him actually chop someone's head off, because he's not the horseman obviously, but he just stabbed it into its head. But it was still an interesting scene. I mean, he comes out covered in blood and stuff, and it was just so different from what we normally get out of this show, and I actually enjoyed it for that. I thought the creepy aspect of the haunted house was really well done. Obviously the reveal that he has a son is really, really great to me, because it just adds more story. And why did Katerina not tell him, obviously, what happened to his son? So once again, excited for what happens next week and in future episodes, if it doesn't happen to get solved in just one episode next week. But great episode overall. Of course, the other half of the episode was Jenny basically talking, with Orlando Jones, because I don't bother to try to remember his name now, but Orlando Jones, and we get to see his family, which was pretty cool because he's on the phone. I think maybe they showed it 2 or 3 times where he was actually getting some forms of development where he talks to either his wife or his daughter on the phone. And in this episode, we actually see his wife and daughter, or at least his ex-wife, because it was fairly obvious that they weren't together. Or, because she mentions how she's going to file for, full custody if he isn't able to actually see his daughter. And it was pretty good to get, once again, at least a little bit of development. And this time it was a lot more than any other time because we actually got to see him talk to the characters rather than, he was on the phone or something like that. So it was great to get the characters, and they have a face now. So whenever characters are mentioned and then they finally get a face to the random names that are thrown out there, it kind of signifies something special. So I'm excited to see what development we get for him and how he might struggle a little bit more to help Abbie and Ichabod now that he's kind of in the fold, but now he has to pull back probably further than he was originally, because he'll try to he's obviously going to want to keep his daughter in his life. So it'll be exciting to see how that plays out. And obviously Jenny and his daughter kind of have a small little connection in this episode, so I'm excited to see. Mostly I'm curious to see. I won't say excited, but I'm curious to see where that goes. But I'm excited for definitely the development that we'll get out of Orlando Jones, because he doesn't really have too much, and the most he's really had has really been packed into the last couple of episodes where when Jenny first got out of the prison, or I think the episode before that, or not at the prison, but when she kind of first got on work release or whatever it's called, I can't think of it. But in that episode or the one before, that was when they first pretty much mentioned the fact that he kind of has a family, and he kind of stops right in the middle of his conversation with Abbie and Ichabod to talk to like the one cop who comes in and says like she's on the phone or something like that. So they kind of packed that in fairly quick, but they did that fairly quick, and I actually enjoy the fact that they did, because they didn't do it where it was like they pack all this little information in and it's just little information. They packed it in real quick, and then they just gave us the characters with actual actors. So excited to see where that goes. Curious to see where the relationship between Jenny and his daughter goes. But overall, great episode. Their sort of Thanksgiving episode, they talk about how it's Thanksgiving. It's just because it's a holiday, so every show's going to do that. Even if they have nothing to do with Thanksgiving, they will throw it in there. So they did, and that kind of led to some of the comedy in the beginning of the episode. But overall, I thought this was a really great episode that was well done, not just because it went away from the normal formula, but because it went away and actually still made an amazing episode through just the atmosphere of them being in the haunted house, and also the great reveal of Ichabod having a son. So comment below, let me know what you guys thought of this episode. Favorite parts, least favorite parts. Did you guys like the ending? Did you think it was kind of too much for Ichabod to kind of kill the demon and go crazy, or do you think that was just a good part of the episode? Because personally, I think it was really well done, because obviously him finding out he had a son, a lot of different emotions flying through his head. He's mad at Katerina, I'm sure. He's mad at this demon for, like I said, possibly not killing his son and Katerina. But, a lot of emotions going through his head, so it makes perfect sense. And plus, it was a demon, so it kind of had to die anyway, so someone had to do it. But comment below, let me know what you guys think, and thanks for watching.